What's good, everybody? Happy Cinco de Mayo for those who are celebrating, and may the force be with you. You guys can hear me okay, right? Cool. So today's review is going to be The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. I've never watched the Fall Guy TV series from the 80s, but this new version starring Ryan Gosling as a stuntman called Severs was a fun ride from beginning to end. The film is made for all people who are in the stunt business who never get the recognition they deserve, and this film gives insight into that while being a fun action comedy. This film works with, charismatic actor Ryan Gosling as the lead, and I believe without him, this movie does not work at all. Without his charisma, his charming, his wittiness, things like that. Especially with the heavy dialogue between him and Emily Blunt, who plays the character Jodie. The chemistry between the two of them works very well, and I think, like I said, this film would have fallen apart without their charisma. There's a lot of great cinematic shots in the film with the throwback action scenes and the amount of car rolls in the film. I am happy that this film was shot practically in a location instead of CGI. I feel we need more practical effects than CGI in our films these days. As the former stuntman and now director David Leitch, I did a great job with the action scenes and the number of explosions in the film. A lot of really cool stunts and stuff like that in the film. The negatives I would give it would be the pacing issue, and the dialogue felt very dragged out between Ryan and Emily's characters. Not all the comedy lands either, but the action scenes and Gosling's making the script into something fun with his charisma makes The Fall Guy a film worth seeing in theaters. This film, you will have to turn your brain off to watch this film because it's very it is what it is, and it's just a fun movie to watch, and highly recommend to see it. My score for this would be a 8 out of 10.
Well, guess what time it is, kids? It's time for another Cinematic Sterling Winger review! Because I was too lazy to write one. Oh well. This was definitely one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Every time the trailer played, I never got sick of it. In fact, it just made me even more excited. And did it live up to my hype? Yeah, it's a good movie. It wasn't as fantastic as I thought it would be, but still very good. Ryan Gosling is fucking awesome as always. Like that dude just oozes charisma. I already loved him as Ken in Barbie, but I loved him even more in this movie. He has great chemistry with Emily Blunt. I loved his friendship with Winston Duke. I thought the movie was hilarious. The love letters to stuntmen and old Hollywood, I loved that a lot. I really liked the love letter to filmmaking. The villains were a ton of fun. I understood their motivation. When it comes to my issues, I did feel there were some pacing issues. The second act dragged a lot before we hit the very awesome, very exciting, and very thrilling third act. That was probably my favorite part of the movie. Was the whole third act. I kind of wish there was a bit more focus on Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling's relationship. And with the villains, well, yeah, I found them very entertaining. I thought it was kind of obvious they were going to be the bad guys. And I thought it was kind of lame that they didn't reveal their fates until after the credits. Because it cuts to the movie, and I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? What happened to them? Then the credits roll. I'm like, okay, we're leaving their fate ambiguous. Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson blew up. All right, works for me. But yeah, I thought this. It's not perfect, but still a good time, and I'd recommend checking it out in theaters. 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, so I'm also going to be winging it, but I actually have a reason that I didn't write a review because I've been so busy with personal things and things with my new job. But I'm getting off topic. Anyway, the Fall Guy. Um, Let me start off by saying I honestly never watched the original Fallout or the Fall. I was almost about to say the Fallout, the Fall Guy show. I didn't even know it existed until this guy mentioned it. So, but anyway, going into this, I honestly was just looking for it. Look, the trailers made it look like it was just going to be an awesome time, and oh, yeah, that's exactly what I got. This was a fun ride. It's not perfect. I do have some issues with it, but overall, it's a blast to watch. The performances were excellent. I love Ryan Gosling. He does a great job. He did a great job as Ken and Barbie. He did a great job in Blade Runner 2049. He did and even in La La Land. Even though I find that movie overrated, but I digress. Anyway, um, he did a great job. Same with Emily Blunt, and I love the chemistry between both of their characters. They do work off very well. Movie has a lot of hilarious moments that I was laughing at a lot. Um, I will say, and the action scenes, of course, as everyone said, the third act kicks major ass. What can I say? It's a blast. It's a blast with the third act. When it comes to my problems, the second act it had some pacing issues to the point where I was starting to get it was starting to lose me a little bit with the second act, and I was starting to get a tad bit bored. But it was like, but once the third act picked up, it was like wow, just the ride speeded up real quickly for me. Um, and also I felt like as Devin mentioned before, even though yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he was a fun villain. It's you can obviously tell who the mastermind was, not just him, but you could also tell that the producer was behind it too. So you can it's something you can see a mile away, and it was so easy to figure out who were the big bad guys in this movie. But overall, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. This, despite my issues, I still had a good time. It's not perfect, but if you're looking for like an entertaining thrill ride to watch for this weekend, I'd say go give this one a watch. So, and my score is a 7.5 out of 10.
All right. Time for me. Fall Guy. The Ryan Gosling realizing his true potential cinematic universe is underway. So I'm kind of partially winging it, not totally winging it. I have some bullet points, but nothing crazy. So, in terms of my pros, I thought everyone did a great job acting wise. I thought Gosling is always great, Blunt's always great, and Duke is always great. Even Aaron Taylor Johnson and Hannah Waddingham were quite good. You even before the twist, Waddingham just played a great, like, lovable asshole type of thing, where you just love to hate her because she's such a bitch. But again, she's a producer, so that just makes sense. I thought the chemistry between the characters was really good. Like even though it was like kind of corny, like with Gosling and Blunt, I still feel like that worked. I feel like that was intentional because it's supposed to be like partially a rom-com type of thing. So like even the corniness, I did like. I felt that like kind of worked because it is kind of supposed to mimicking like 80s type of stuff as well, which was also kind of corny at the time. So I felt that worked. I also liked the chemistry between Gosling and Duke. I thought that was good. I honestly wanted to see more of that. I thought that was really fun. Um, but yeah, I mean, even like the stuff on set, like between the characters of like the smaller people, like I think Nigel and like all those people, like all the like crew, it felt like really genuine, like they knew each other for a while, like they've been like doing this like for so long, and they like can really bounce off of each other really well. Like it felt like a good workplace like dynamic, and I feel like they nailed that really well. I mean, Jean-Claude, I mean, dog fucking biting nuts. That's just classic right there. I mean, right out of Stand By Me, Chopper Sick Balls, classic as always. And and I also loved how like they had so many fake outs, considering that David Leitch was the co-director of John Wick. They had so many fake outs with the dog almost getting killed. I thought that was a good running gag. Like, oh, are they gonna actually kill the dog this time? I thought that worked. I thought that was kind of funny, and I knew they wouldn't, but it was still funny. I mean, the action was really, really good. Those were definitely the best parts of the movie, like the dumpster truck and the third act, as everyone has been saying, and the stuff in the apartment was really good. Um, Maybe a little bit too long for some of the scenes, but overall it was still really well done. But that's like kind of a given with Leach. As I mentioned, the third act, like that, just the bombastic action, like just thrill ride was just way great. Because of that, I gave the movie an extra half point. I thought that was so fun. I thought the comedy worked for the most part. I was laughing. I was chuckling a few times. I wouldn't say I was laughing or busting a gut, but I was chuckling. Maybe a few nose exhales for good measure. But for the most part, the comedy was pretty good. I liked the popular music. Like I mean, Kiss is always a win. So I Was Made for Loving You, great song, and as well as the other songs that were used. Um, but that one was kind of like a motif throughout the whole movie, and I really liked that. I liked how they showed the behind the scenes during the credits, like showing like all like behind all the action scenes, like really showcasing like what these guys do, showing them that respect, showing them that love and appreciation by like, yeah, it's at the credits, but like luckily they give you a mid-credit scene, so if you really want to see the mid-credit scene, you got to wait through that. And then I just found myself like appreciating that, like all those scenes with how they were filmed and whatnot. I thought that was really good. I mean, the cameo from Lee Majors and Heather Thomas was great. I was like, hey, there he is. I was like waiting, like, where are they fucking gonna put Lee Majors in this goddamn movie? And I'm like, there he is. And I thought that was awesome. And although Heather Thomas has seen better days, definitely a lot of botched plastic surgery there. But and lastly, the villains made sense. An egotistical actor and a douchebag producer, like that. Yeah, it's predictable, but it's like for a movie about making movies, it's perfect that the two biggest dickheads of the industry would be the villains, a producer and an actor. Boom, there you go. My cons is that the plot was pretty paper thin. Like obviously this is like it's an action movie that's like an homage to like 80s action movies um as well as like the stunt performers in them. So I get like it wasn't like major, but it was still like it like kind of left me wanting more. Um and with that, I felt that the movie just kind of felt awkward and like kind of jumbled. I don't really know if I should blame the editing or the writing or both, but it just felt kind of off to me. Like I liked what I was watching, but I wasn't like terribly invested with what I was watching. It kind of That's what I've kind of felt like with a lot of the action movies this year, to a lesser extent Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I felt like that kind of had some like slowness to it. I'm like, I wish there was a little bit more. And to a much greater extent with Argyle, but most of that movie sucked. So that is how you do it really badly. And then Ministry was done a little bit better. But I felt like Fall Guy with its pacing, with its writing, with its editing, it just felt off and it just awkward, and I wish it was better. Yeah, and because of that, it felt kind of slow again with like the pacing issues. With that, as well as the fact some of the comedy just went on way too fucking long. Like the scene with her explaining the plot to Ryan Gosling after he's doing like the fire and like getting hit against the boulder like multiple times. I'm like, okay, let's this has been going on for like 10 minutes. Like, let's fucking wrap this up. We get it. Like, she's pissed at him and she's like, I am woman, hear me roar. We got it. Like, let's keep this shit up. I felt it was kind of bland, a little generic in some areas, but that's kind of more of a nitpick than anything. And a big thing, this is definitely a me thing, not really against the movie. I would have preferred like an actual score. Like I felt like there was like next to no music, and there were a lot of scenes where it was just kind of silent. And I'm like, I feel like there was music here, and then the track in editing accidentally got deleted, and they didn't notice it until they shipped the movie. I'm like, oh shit, half the movie doesn't have a soundtrack. Oh well, and then they just continued on. Like that's what it like kind of felt like. So I was like listening to the movie, I'm like, I feel like this would go a lot quicker if there was some music behind it. I don't know who the composer was, but I feel like they kind of replaced the what could have been a great score and gave us a lot of like popular hits, which I don't hate, but I'm kind of growing tired of it a little bit, especially when there's no reason for it. Like I feel like there should be an in-universe reason as to why there's so much like popular music. Because a lot of these directors are turning into caca white titties that just insert random songs that don't make sense and then just expect them to make sense because, hey, look, it's a song people like. Okay, great. Does it make sense? No, then fuck off, please. Overall, though, I thought it was a really fun time. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed by a lot of the movie, mainly as Rob was saying, the second act was kind of iffy. First act was good, but a little bit flawed. Second act, I'm like, okay, I feel like there's a lot of scenes that could like be cut down and I'm kind of losing me. And then the third act definitely won me back. I would say the third act is worth the price of admission alone. But yeah, that still doesn't save the movie from being kind of awkward and sluggish. Even then, though, I still really enjoyed it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Thought it was really good. So go see it. Go watch the show. I've never seen the show, but it's got Lee Majors, so it's got to be good. I mean, he's Ash's dad, for God's sake. I mean, come on.
I didn't expect to love this film, but here we are. Watching the trailers, I could never see what everyone else saw in the movie. It didn't look or feel at all like the old TV series that I knew and loved from my childhood. But watching the film, however, I recognize the old familiar elements that were a staple of 80s action TV. This film is a love letter to those series, not only The Fall Guy, but other fan favorites such as The A-Team, Airwolf, Knight Rider, etc. Included everything from the over-the-top bad guys to the cheesy dialogue and comedy to the balls-to-the-wall action and crazy stunts with a little romance thrown in for good measure. There was even a very welcome cameo from beloved actor Lee Majors with the lovely Heather Thomas in tow, a huge childhood crush of mine. And they even threw in the blink and you'll miss it $6 Million Man sound effect. And of course, the OG theme song, which I was waiting for and actually cheered when I finally heard it, updated a bit, of course. Because of this, I feel that what might have otherwise been weaknesses are actually strengths. Sure, the plot was thin, but I mean and the comedy was cheesy, not in a bad way, but in a fun way. but that makes sense in the context of an 80s action TV series. They weren't known for being Shakespeare after all. They were just kind of simple and fun TV shows. So, and besides, I feel that the cast pulled it off anyway. They went kind of over the top with it and Aaron Taylor Johnson was absolutely brilliant. He was so hilarious as the villain. I think, Phil, that's what made it work more than anything as the arrogant actor, and Hannah Waddingham is Gail Meyer, the producer. She was also delightfully over the top and evil. So, I mean, it did make sense that those would be the bad guys. So, I mean, that's why I, gave it a pass, because I mean, the whole time I was either, I was laughing or on the edge of my seat, So, I mean, a lot of great stunts, a lot of great action in this. It's also a love letter. It also works as a love letter to filmmaking and to not only stunt work, but filmmaking in general, with all of the elements, including from, showing the script at the beginning, showing by David Leitch and just the different actors in the script and everything. So, but I just showing how a movie is made and everything, and even in the credits showing them making movie and performing the stunts and everything. So these stunt men really do put their lives on the line, and they really do go unrecognized. And so there really should be a category for awarding the stunt men. So, but it really worked for me and on several levels. It reminded me very, very much of old 80s action comedy TV series. So, I mean, it was a blast to me. I mean, it felt so nostalgic for me sitting there watching it, and I felt like a kid again, and I loved it. And I'm giving it an 8.5. I'm tempted to raise it to a 9, actually. I've just loved it that much, but my final rank's an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, and I agree, by the way, that Ryan Gosling is the one who made all this work, because his charisma and also his chemistry with Emily Blunt was amazing. Chemistry with Emily Blunt was so good. I mean, that had a right to be. I mean, there has to be something. I mean, I was always tempted to say there had to be something between this because we're just too good together. But I mean, but they're both very good actors. So, and Ryan Gosling.
Emily Blunt has more chemistry with Ryan Gosling than her own husband. Am I right?
I fucking joked about that too, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like she's better with him than
John
I know
Krasinski.
she was better with Gosling than she was with Cillian Murphy. Hello.
They're hot together. I admit it. I mean, shit, they are.
Yeah.
The trailers were very misleading, though, because the trailers, when you saw them, you thought you were getting a rom-com or a completely different movie.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I feel like that's
stealing
where
a lot of the story.
the misleading thing kind of comes from. It was like, oh, okay. It wasn't bad, but like, yeah, it was actually really funny. Before me and my dad went into the movie, we were getting our tickets at the counter, and there was this woman talking to the person behind the register, and my dad was like, "Oh, 2 for Fall Guy," and the woman who was talking to the cashier, she was like, "Should I tell them?" And the girl behind the cashier chuckled, and my dad's like, "What?" He's like, "I just walked out of Fall Guy. It was so bad. I walked out," and I'm like, "Damn!" And we're like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, you might like it, but I stayed longer than I should have. I thought it was so bad. I'm trying to get my money back." And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I thought that I thought that was a funny story worth telling. And then we got out of the theater. We're like, I mean, it wasn't like the greatest thing ever, but like a walkout, that's a bit much. Like, to put that into context, as we all know, my least favorite movie of all time is Thor: Shit and Blunder. I didn't walk out of that movie. I should have, but I didn't. So I don't believe out in terms of walking out of movies. 1, I paid for the fucking thing, and 2, I don't know. It just feels like kind of cheap. Like, just stay. I consider walking out, but I'm like, you know what? I'll fucking stay, I guess. But
I almost walked out of dude. I almost walked out of Champions, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna suck it up. It was painful, but I did it.
yeah, and I could judge the entire, and plus I was with friends. I think that's probably why, because I didn't know like what I would be. I would, because like if I was by myself, I probably would have left and just gotten into my car and left. But the fact that I was with people and the person driving was still in the theater, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll watch it.
So I do want to bring this up, as someone who was a diehard Kiss fan, from like a seventh to like to sophomore year.
Yeah.
Look, we can all agree, Disco Era Kiss wasn't good, but "I Was Made for Loving You" was an awesome song.
That is an awesome song.
Oh yeah,
Like, I can't defend Dynasty.
I still remember like last year, Ben and I, we went to go see Kiss in concerts. So
God, they're still performing. What are they, 90?
Yeah, they just did their final tour.
Yeah,
and they announced they're
final
going to
tour.
continue.
Like
on.
how fucking 2 years ago Elton John
Hold on.
did his 15th farewell tour. Yeah.
Hold on.
Wait.
Here's the kicker. They're continuing as, no joke, digital avatars of themselves.
Oh God.
oh.
Yes, it is as stupid as it sounds.
Damn.
Yeah. Anyway, still a great song. Still,
But
a great
I
band.
still-
and
I
I
know-
like that.
Yeah.
I just wish. Sorry, Rob, but I wish I got more of a score. Like I want to hear like a big score, like especially like something like quick and fast, like to help the pacing go by. I feel
Yeah.
like that would have. I'm gonna look up the composer. Sorry,
Yeah,
Rob. What were you gonna
No,
say?
I was just saying, like when they opened up to that song in the movie, it's like Ben and I, we were just like jamming out to it, you know,
Yeah.
just like singing kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a song where you have me just go.
So did anybody think that Aaron Taylor Johnson channeled like a young Matthew McConaughey or a Tom Cruise, just somebody back in the day were pretty douchey or something, just trying to be more comedy about it? I felt like he was channeling a certain couple of actors from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like
Pretty fun.
Tom Ryder was definitely probably a play on Tom Cruise, even though they do mention Tom Cruise at one point.
Yeah.
Because like they do have like the the whole thing of like, oh, I do my own stunts, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, because Tom Cruise does his own stunts.
Yeah. And so I feel like there was a little bit of him because he does have a bit of an ego, not as much as a lot of other people do. But I would imagine like a lot of 80s action stars, like I know Sly Stallone has a huge fucking ego. Vin Diesel, there was probably a little bit of him in there.
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
Well, the thing is, I've heard like I kind of go back and forth with Dwayne Johnson. Like I know can be an egotistical douchebag, but from what I've heard in terms of people who have worked with him, that he's like a very nice guy. So I don't know. I kind of go back and forth with him. Like I want to hate him, but I want to
like
like him.
about him like recently.
What?
About on set. Apparently, like the biggest complaints, him showing up 8 hours late on set, costing the studio more money, peeing in bottles, giving them to PAs to throw away. Just a lot of things about like him rubbing the wrong way with
It is going to his head. I don't know.
So
But
Yeah.
there's been a lot of like stuff that's coming out about him this past week.
yeah, and I know like I know you guys, the wrestling fans, were pissed about what he did to Cody Rhodes way back a couple months back.
Mhm.
So I know
Well,
that. Just but yeah, I know.
But you know what? I will say that they did pivot really
Yeah.
quickly when they realized fans were pissed. So I mean, they admitted that they pivoted. Because I mean, I wondered about that. Did they plan it all along? Were they trying to piss off the fans and see if they could get a reaction? Was it a work or was it?
Maybe it
Sure,
was
but
a publicity thing.
Yeah.
But I guess you
that's
could say they turned heel. That bad joke. I apologize.
No, it's not bad.
I don't know much about wrestling. I'm trying here. Okay.
No, you're right. You're right.
No,
That's
that's
the
exactly
term.
what they did. Yeah, they turned heel, and Dwayne wanted to be a heel. And it worked out
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah, because he is great at being a heel. So, I mean,
But I was curious. I know maybe we want to do a separate stream about this, a special stream, but I was curious where does it rank with the pantheon of TV shows adapted into movies? I would say
I
it's
didn't know
up
this
there,
was a show.
I didn't
Well,
know
even
either.
but even
I
then,
did.
I'm not even. I mean, I'm not even talking about like comparisons to the show, just as a movie, like just like with everything else, like because I know the Jump Street movies are great. And
Addams
I never
Family?
watched the show.
Adam's Family.
Adam's
That was
Family,
good.
not the Munsters.
Fuck no.
Like that. Did any of you guys see Starsky and Hutch, the one with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson?
I've heard that one's good.
I
I've heard that one.
like that. I remember seeing the
Yeah.
Starsky and Hutch movie.
I
I
had
liked
fun
it.
watching that movie. That's what this movie reminded me of. Just
Yeah.
a fun comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool, like,
I'm
throwback
sure
action
that's what
scenes.
I've heard. I mean, Fantasy Island, I've heard was horrible. I heard I Spy was horrible. Miami Vice, I've heard was bad, but apparently people are going back to it and liking it now for
See,
some reason.
I liked it for whatever reason. Like when I first saw the movie, I liked the tone they were going with it, but it
Yeah,
was very completely different from the show.
yeah. But I will say, I think we can all agree what the best one was. The Fugitive.
Fugitive
Oh,
was
yeah.
a show?
That was a show?
There was a
Yeah.
show.
It was. My mother watched it back in the 60s. It was a
Wow.
favorite.
My
mother
dad
back
watched
in the-
reruns of it when he was a
I
kid.
remember.
I
I remember
honestly
watching
didn't
reruns
even
with her,
know.
Yeah.
I thought you were
remember
gonna say
watching.
No.
Mission
Wait.
Impossible.
What about the Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible had a show too.
Yeah, Mission Impossible.
Mission
Yeah.
Impossible is great, but I would say The Fugitive is better. If we're talking about like the
Yeah.
first movie, I would say The
Yeah.
Fugitive. It's just perfect because
Oh, The
I would
Fugitive is
dare say
amazing.
it's better than the show.
Fugitive's awesome.
Even my dad would say, "Oh, I would say it's better than the
What'd
show."
you
Well,
guys
ooh,
think of
Mission
the
Impossible
18?
stuff.
The 18 movie that came out like years ago with Liam Neeson and
Oh
Bradley
yeah.
Cooper. That was another one that came out back in the day.
I remember seeing that one with my dad.
Yeah, it
Um,
was a fun movie, but I don't remember it being like standing out. Like
it did,
the way,
yeah,
Fall Guy did.
it was fine. It was fine for what it was. I mean, I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters.
Oh wait, try these two on for size. Beavis and Butthead to America.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
I was
movie.
gonna
South
say,
Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
wait. Are we? So we're also counting animated shows too? Because
Yeah, why not?
okay, then we're gonna get into
Oh, man,
every
there's so
anime
many.
known to mankind with their fucking movies. That's not even fair. Anime gets its own. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, if we're adding, we can add Western cartoons, but anime has to have its own thing because there's way too fucking many.
I was
In
gonna
terms
say,
of movie
Devin,
adaptations.
you are opening up a can of worms with that discussion.
Although, if we
Not
are
even a
talking
can of
about
worms, man.
Netflix and American adaptations, I think it's safe to say that Dragon Ball Evolution and Death Note are probably the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
Oh,
Dragon Ball
God,
Evolution is
yeah.
the worst.
I mean, honestly, the only live action anime movie that was good was the Alita Battle Angel, but that's about it. So because everything else, because Dragon Ball Evolution sucked,
Ghost in the Shell.
Death Note sucked, Ghost in the Shell sucked, Knights of the Zodiac. Ugh.
The Mystery Science Theater movie.
Yeah.
Which was basically just a regular episode of the show. Still funny though.
Yeah, that will count.
Did anybody have any favorite shots from the movie? Like a favorite, like a picture? Like one of my favorite parts was Gosling falling down from that shot where he breaks his back. I thought that was a really
Yeah,
great
that was
shot.
That I love that
Oh,
long like zoom pan
Zoom
across the
pan.
whole
Yeah.
set.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah.
good.
that was good.
You
I
know what
love
I,
the,
you know what I was kind of hoping. I'm like kind of on the fence on it. I think it would have been like kind of more wholesome if they did this. I get why they didn't. But I think it would have been funny if like in the trailer for Metal Storm, like at the end of the movie, it was revealed that Colt Seavers would be promoted to the actual lead after Tom Ryder gets arrested or dies or whatever. I
thought
think it
about
would have
that.
been funny if
Yeah.
Colt Seavers actually became the lead. I think that would like for being such an amazing stuntman and getting the recognition like stunt people deserve, he becomes the actual lead. I feel like that would have been wholesome, but I still like what they did with Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa deserves a win after fucking Aquaman.
Oh god.
I hope Metal Storm turns out good for it.
Or Fast X.
Well, to be fair, I have heard he was like the best part about that movie. So
Same
like,
here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Money and checks, man. But fuck you.
but
Yeah, I thought that was a
yeah,
nice
that's what I
surprise scene
was.
at the end.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. That they got him for that. But yeah, I feel like that would have been funny if they like, here you go, Colt, you deserve it. But yeah, if there's any like shot, I like the shot of him and the dog in the car, like strengthen your core. Like that was really funny. That was really cute.
I think
God,
anything with the dog with him was really fun. Like him putting the seatbelt
Yeah.
on the dog, and
Well,
just the name Jean Claude I thought was pretty fun too.
I like him being
Yeah.
a better owner. I liked that too. I thought that was cute.
I mean, he kind of was, but I mean, I think my favorite, all the stunts really. I mean,
Yeah.
the car rolling.
I mean,
rolling
it's. I mean, this movie is like you guys said. It's like a love letter to stunt performers and all.
Well, I mean, the funny
Yeah.
thing is, he does all the stuff he talks about in the song. I might fall from a tall building. He did that.
Yeah.
I may roll a brand new car. He did that. So he does all the shit in the movie they did in the song. So,
Supposedly, it broke a record for the most car rolls in a movie. Supposedly,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me.
Surprised.
Damn.
Yeah,
Um,
that was really something to see, though.
I liked the neon fight when he was high. That was really cool.
That
I
was
really
funny.
liked that.
That was.
I like the unicorn part where he saw.
Oh yeah, where he was like.
Seeing the
That was a
fucking
fun
unicorn.
bit.
Yeah, it's like when does this end? When you stop seeing the unicorn.
And then he fucking sees it. That was really good. But yeah, I liked. Gail was such a bitch. Even like as I said before, she was the villain. Like, it's like they really nailed the fucking like annoying as fuck producer. Like, really nailed it. But yeah, like just. I just wish like in terms, maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know. Like it's one of those movies I really want to like it more. Like I want to give it like a perfect 10 out of 10 type of thing, but it's just like it doesn't have everything that I wanted.
Yeah.
So reality is
I
often
loved it. I
disappointing.
mean, honestly, I really fucking loved it. I may actually wind up increasing my score on this because I had a fucking ball. I mean, I felt like it again. I mean, this really felt at some point, let's think of like maybe during the second or third act. I mean, the second act really didn't bother me because I mean, I recognize the mystery aspect. You always had some kind of mystery aspect in these shows, even in the Fall Guy. So, I mean, you always had that. And yeah, it was obvious, but I mean, it makes sense because it works because they're so damn funny, So, I mean, and I will say, yeah, that at some point, you wonder, you kind of lose track of it. It's like, okay, why is he going to this place again? Oh, who the fuck cares? Whatever, he's got to leave. Okay, so, but have we seen every David Lynch film?
Every
Shit.
David Lynch.
Oh, David Lynch. That's very different.
Well,
David Lynch
very-
directs The Fall Guy. That would be an interesting movie.
that would be.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other films did he did? Oh, he did Atomic Blonde,
He
Well, he
did
directed,
Atomic Blonde, he did
Deadpool
Deadpool 2,
Deadpool 2.
I like
he did
Atomic
Bullet Train, and he did the Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs
Speaking
and
of
Shaw.
Fast and Furious, he did Hobbs and Shaw.
The
Hobbs and Shaw.
the only three I've seen, not counting the Fall Guy, is Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, and Bullet Train.
I would say this is better than Bullet Train. Not as good as, obviously it's not as good as the first John Wick. It's not as good as Deadpool 2. I definitely like
I would say Deadpool 2 is better. So, but then again, Deadpool's like in my top
John
4.
Wick is the best. I mean, come on, man.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
John Wick is his best
Wick-
movie.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a epitome of action movie.
I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw. So, I would say it's probably around the same as Atomic Blonde, maybe a little worse. I don't know. Like from what I remember about Atomic Blonde, it was definitely like it was less of an action movie. That was another movie that was mismarketed. It was more like, oh, it's gonna be female John Wick, but in actuality, it was like this slower kind of Cold War thriller.
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
it.
say because I know Atomic Blonde. It's like based on a comic book, and it's supposed to be kind of like Watchmen in a way, but it takes place during the Cold War, during the fall of the Berlin Wall or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I liked Atomic Blonde. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I would say Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I would probably say that's probably his worst movie because it's a Fast and Furious movie.
I mean, I've seen Hobbs and Shaw. It was pretty good, but like, it doesn't leave any kind of
Yeah.
impactful thing to it. Like, it's just a Rock and Jason Statham buddy cop movie.
Oh, he didn't direct. He didn't direct John Wick. He was just producer on that. But
Yeah, he was just a
He
producer.
got it on
He
credit.
co-directed the
He
first
co-
John Wick.
Yeah, but he didn't get the full credit for it.
he didn't get the full credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But geez. But I mean, I thought Hobbs and Shaw wasn't bad. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw was fine. You know, I mean, it's a Fast and Furious film. You know what you're getting into. So
Yeah.
I mean, as far as that goes,
Black
I mean,
Superman.
Yeah, I know. But Atomic
Yep.
Blonde was fine. That was pretty good. Deadpool 2 was, you know, that was great. I thought this, I would have said Bullet Train was better than this. Bullet Train was a lot of fun.
I thought Bullet Train was
They're
awesome.
both very-
Yeah, it was a fun
Yeah,
movie.
this and Bullet Train were very similar in the sense they're both very fun, action-packed movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Fun.
felt like I would say Bullet Train has a lot of similar problems
Yeah.
to this, where it had a lot of pacing issues and it felt like very awkward and kind of jumbled. Like I feel like it was one of those movies that they tried to pack too much into a movie, but also didn't do enough at the same time, and I felt like that faltered it. But I will say I think the dialogue and chemistry between characters was probably a little bit better in Bullet Train, because I mean Aaron Taylor Johnson and I think what was it Brian Tyree Henry were Zach's movie parallel with him being obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine. And their chemistry was like so fucking good. Like their brotherly chemistry was like perfect. Like that was the best part of the movie. And I feel like a lot of the characters were a little bit more memorable, but overall I think this was better. Like I feel like the third act was better. I felt like the characters had a little bit more meat to it. The pacing was a little bit better, but it still had that similar problem. But yeah, Bullet Train is probably his weakest to me. It's not bad.
I mean,
Like a 6,
even though
7 out of
even
10.
though it's still good. I mean, out of the ones I've seen, they're all really good. So if I had to say what was my favorites, I'd say probably my favorite would probably be Deadpool 2, honestly.
Yeah, mine would be Deadpool 2. Although
Well, technically, it would be John Wick. John Wick was definitely my favorite out of all of them.
Well, I mean, oh yeah, John Wick was good, but
I would say for me personally, it's John Wick, Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde, this Bullet Train.
I got to see Atomic Blonde.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Like, don't
yeah,
expect
Atomic Blonde was really good.
as we said, don't expect female John Wick. Just expect like a good Cold War thriller, like very slow moving but very well
Yeah.
done.
I mean, you guys know I'm a sucker for learning about the Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, I mean-
because you're Mark's protege now at this point.
I think what I appreciated about Bullet Train was I saw it as kind of like a love letter to Tarantino. Like I got
In a
strong
way,
Tarantino
yeah.
vibes from that movie, from the dialogue to the over the top gory action.
I feel like somebody made this joke in their Fall Guy review, although they didn't like the movie. They're like, yeah, it feels like David Leitch keeps making movies outside of the obvious one where he actually was the protagonist, where he keeps making movies where Ryan Reynolds should be the protagonist but isn't, because a lot of people joke that Bullet Train, that felt more like that should have been Ryan Reynolds instead of Brad Pitt. Somebody joked that this should have been Ryan Reynolds instead of Ryan Gosling. Although I don't totally agree, because I feel like there was more meat that Ryan Gosling offered than what Ryan Reynolds could offer. But that's just me. Like, but they have like a similar vibe in terms of like a character that's like kind of always jokey, and you know, the one character that now Ryan Reynolds is playing since 2016, because he's just playing, oh, hey, look, let's see how many times I can play Deadpool in a movie before it gets absolutely sickening. Thanks, Ryan Reynolds. But that's
I would
just me.
say Fall Guy, because I really like Fall Guy a lot, because I feel like this would be a more impactful movie, especially with not knowing what's going behind the scenes with stuntmen, stunt
Yeah,
people,
that-
and the amount of
as-
stuff that they
yeah.
deal with, and you know,
Yeah.
deal with a lot of injuries. Some lose limbs.
Honestly, we need to give more
Yeah.
credit to stunt performers because
Yeah.
they pretty much injured themselves they pretty much put themselves in dangerous situations
Yeah.
for our entertainment
Mhm.
kind of thing. So we need to give props to
Yeah,
stunt
most
performers.
definitely. One of my favorite like stunt stories. I might have said this on the show. I might have said it on the Hangout. I don't remember. But where they were filming the first X-Men movie, like the very first X-Men movie, and there was a fight between Wolverine and Mystique. And apparently back then they actually used real metal claws for Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wolverine and Mystique, they were, having they were having a fight or something. And like she, I think, like puts her hand on a table or something, and like he's Wolverine was supposed to stab it, but she like was supposed to move out of the way, but she didn't move out of the way fast enough. So Hugh Jackman actually stabbed the stunt woman for Mystique, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And he started to see blood, and he's like, "Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!" And like the whole fucking crew was silent, and they were like kind of freaking out. So he eventually like removed it. He's like, "Are you okay?" And then the stunt woman was just like, "It's by Wolverine." Like just totally taking it, because stunt people are fucking batshit. They are fucking insane. But you kind of have to be with that line of work.
Yeah.
So I just love that story where she's like, "Yeah, I got fucking stabbed by Wolverine."
They're badass. I mean, shit.
Oh yeah.
They're the ones who make these movies work, and they deserve.
But it like makes so much sense that a guy who is a stuntman would be the protagonist of an action movie. That just makes perfect fucking sense. So it's the fact
I thought it was really funny that it turned out to be Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
I know, right?
That, because especially he just went ham with it, because I mean that's Jason Momoa in his element shit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Woo! All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember my fiance actually. She said she did watch Fast X, and the only reason she watched it was just for Jason Momoa. And that's it. She doesn't give a shit about she doesn't care about the Fast and Furious movies. And
Wait, does anybody care about the Fast and the Furious movies?
Not really.
Not since 7.
Well, I mean,
They were never my thing.
They're still making billions of dollars, so I guess they're doing something right.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't since the first. I mean, shit, I didn't care. I didn't never watch the second one.
I mean,
I
liked it
better when it was called Point Break.
The only Fast and Furious movie I saw was the second one, and that's because I was with my cousin at the time who wanted to see it.
Too fat. As I've made this joke, the most interesting thing about the titles, what title are they going to do next?
Oh, I know what they're going to do next.
Titles, no.
I think it's going to be Fast Furious. Like no, and just Fast Furious, or
no,
the and
guess,
the.
I have your guesses right here. Your guess, Devin, was Furious 11. So don't try to gaslight us, Devin.
Can I change my answer, please? I want to do Fast Furious.
Okay, I'll change it. Still have my post-it note.
Just watch that one be the correct one. Then what?
Anyway,
and you get the money.
Shit. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I did see the sixth one only because I was dragged to it by my friends, and I thought it was pretty good. It was fine. The sixth one was pretty good. I'd actually saw the fourth one, the Tokyo Drift.
That's the third one.
I just watched the third one, whatever it was, Tokyo Drift. I watched that on on TV because it was on, and it was actually all right. I thought it was all right. It wasn't bad.
I think Jay's favorite Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's one of the better Fast and Furious movies because it actually has a story and not just some bunch of action, crazy.
Which is funny because wasn't that the one that people hated for years that kind of stopped the franchise a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I know that one a lot of people didn't like for the
it didn't
longest
do
time.
well in the box office, but when it came out to DVD, that's when more people started seeing it. It was like, oh, it's actually really good.
Yeah. There have been a lot of fun movies. The thing is that worries me, there have been a lot of great movies the past month that they just, for the past couple weeks, I mean, really, but they're just not making money, and that's just fucking
Yeah.
sad, man.
Mhm.
Which is weird because I remember seeing a bunch of articles that it was like that the box office was actually up from last year, that they were actually getting better. So maybe that's just like, maybe it's like kind of a slowly but surely thing. Maybe it's just
Not for
it was
April.
that bad last year, or I don't know.
No, because last year they said the same thing, that it was up. But I mean, there's no way April has been up. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
No, it wasn't April specifically.
No,
It
I
was
know
just
what you're
compared to-
saying, the
yeah,
year,
yeah.
but
Okay.
I mean, at the very
Okay, yeah.
least, April. I'm saying April's box office, I know has been down. There's
Yeah,
no
I
way it
mean,
had.
I'm looking up the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
I don't think that movie made any money at all. The Ministry of Warfare.
I don't think it has, because I haven't heard. Because a lot of people, I remember seeing like, oh, it made this much on opening day, and there were tons of people in the comments that were like, this was a movie that was coming out, and a lot of people were like, I like Guy Ritchie. Why the fuck didn't I hear about this movie? So maybe they just marketed it like, I think it was somebody made the point where it was like, oh, they marketed the hell out of it like in January, and then like they didn't after that, and then it just kind of. Sorry.
Hey,
What's
I'm
up?
looking at a couple articles right now. The April box office may drop by 25%.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no movie's making any money.
No. I mean, well, like last year you had the Super Mario Brothers movie. You know,
You had
and
Across
there's
the
been-
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Across the
Exactly.
Spider-Verse. And is there
And
anything
Barbenheimer.
and
Like that was the three big ones of that year. That was a huge.
Yeah, but I mean,
fucking-
and not to mention it's like for April's box office, it's going to keep going down because next week, because we got like Planet of the Apes, and we got what's the other one that I was thinking of, Furiosa coming out. So then those could probably keep pushing like all the April releases down even further, you know.
So Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare so far worldwide has made $17 million.
That's terrible.
Damn.
Yikes.
And what was even the
But I
budget? What was even the budget for that?
I'm looking.
60 million.
That should have
That
made
is-
100.
That's a
Woo!
bomb.
Damn.
That is a flippity
look-
flop.
I
mean,
feel
what was that?
bad for Guy Ritchie now.
I feel bad for Henry Cavill. Like he can't
Me
catch
too.
a fucking break.
Yeah, seriously. I mean,
And
but
with- and
those
with-
are the films. Those mid-budget films are the ones that are suffering the most. Those are the ones
Yeah.
that it's just hard to recoup the losses on. I mean, it's hard to recoup the budget on it. I mean,
And it's
everything's
weird
got to have to
because-
be. But the thing that worries me is even fucking horror movies are struggling. That's what's worrisome, because horror movies are always make money.
Yeah,
I mean, if
always
horror
make
films aren't making money, that's really bad.
I mean, Abigail's
Look at,
Especially you said,
Yeah,
Well,
Abigail-
yeah,
It's
especially
a
to
good
the
movie.
Abigail,
I had a good time watching that movie.
Whoop whoop.
Abigail's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, the weird thing is, they said that March was the best. March was the best March in 5 years.
Abigail so far has made 30 million.
Also, look at Blumhouse. Blumhouse is like a box of chocolates. You never know if you'll get a good horror movie like Get Out or The Black Phone, or you'll get shit like Night Swim and Imaginary.
Yeah.
Say what you want to about their movies, they make them cheap, and despite the quality of the movie, they still make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Abigail, it just made its budget back. Like it was $28 million.
You know, I'm looking up like what are the highest grossing films 2024 so far.
When Madam
top-
Web
the
is
top-
number 10, that's a problem.
Ooh.
I would-
Abigail made 45 million total gross box office. Unbelievable.
I was gonna
Sorry.
say the top 4 highest grossing of 2024 so far all came out in March. Dune Part 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Godzilla X Kong, and Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Yeah, the bottom 2 are Madam Web and Argyle.
But
That's
the thing
bad.
is, but guys, I mean, the thing is that may not be fair because I mean, last April you had the Super Mario Brothers movie open to a $490 million opening. So of course the box office is down compared to that. I mean, shit. So I mean, the only thing you've had to compare that is what Godzilla X Kong, and that was nowhere near as big. So it's still big, but not even that big.
Yeah, Ministry of Ungenuinely Warfare. It finished 4th behind Civil War, Abigail, and Godzilla X Kong.
Do you feel like because like a lot of good movies came out every week, and that may have hurt its box office?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
An A24 movie made more money than a big budget blockbuster with Henry Cavill.
It's crazy.
Yep.
That's really fucking sad, man. Jesus Christ.
It is.
I mean, I'm hoping it will get a second life on streaming.
Hopefully.
You know, 'cause, I mean, it is possible for it to do very well on streaming, and you know,
And that's a big thing that pisses me off with movies post-COVID. Everything is being released on streaming too early now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, we won't release it theater and streaming same day, but they'll release it on streaming a month later.
Right.
Yeah.
The 30-day window after the box
It's like
office.
they really just want to kill movie theaters at this point. They really do.
Like, look at Tom Cruise, James Cameron, Nolan. They're like, no, this is not going to streaming right away. This is staying in theaters. These movies are
But they
meant for
have
theaters.
the clout to fucking do that. They have it.
But I mean-
It's fucking James Cameron. It's Tom Cruise. Nolan makes hit after hit. Like, of course, these guys have the clout to fucking say that. But fucking David Leitch doesn't. Guy Ritchie doesn't really. Like, in terms that Nolan is the guy that made The Dark Knight. Tom Cruise is action blockbuster Mr. Douglas
James
Own
Cameron
son.
made 3 of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Exactly.
So they
You don't
have,
bet
they
against
can,
James
they can
Cameron.
afford to say that. But Joe Schmo, who's just trying to make a fucking $1 million horror movie, has no clout to fucking say that. They'll just say,
No,
"Oh, play
exactly.
with your fucking
But, I mean,
fake
the
blood,
thing is, you
shit."
can't just honestly. Plus, those guys have the clout to do that because their movies make fucking money. Their movies make money. They're not going to let a film stay in theaters just to have it stay in theaters if they're not making money. Theater owners aren't going to want it to stay in theaters. They're going to drop it. They're like, look, nobody's coming to see this, man. I mean, give me something else that people are going to come see. So
I also feel like the trailers for some of these movies are basically spoiling the movie, and just not really
Yes.
doing a good job
Actually,
like marketing.
Someone
and
actually, a guy I'm subscribed to on YouTube, actually made a really good video on it where he actually broke down as to why that was the case. We can blame focus groups for it. Apparently, they are more inclined to see a movie if they reveal more about the movie than not. So,
But
if
NDAs,
you want to blame people, blame focus groups.
I
mean,
mean,
that's been a thing since the dawn of cinema. Like, that's been like, I mean, infamously the trailer for Carrie, infamously the trailer for Castaway. They literally reveal the fucking finale of the fucking movie.
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing the trailers didn't reveal was that Superman died. Oh, and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 had the ending of the movie in the trailer.
They did the same thing for Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah,
Mhm.
both of them.
Yeah. So it's like no fucking wonder, but it's like we have no one to blame but ourselves. Well, at least the dumbass people that they get for focus groups.
And why do people even listen to focus groups anymore?
They have to because they have to, gauge, what do the people like? And not everyone can be a hit like the Alien trailer. Still the best trailer we've ever gotten for anything ever.
Or Clockwork Orange. If you're not prone to seizures.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
And hell,
Thing
like,
trailer, the Lighthouse trailer,
yes.
all good.
Great.
And even like with Abigail, like as much as the movie, as much as I love that movie, I heard like a lot of people were complaining that the trailer gave away that the trailers gave away too much. But honestly, with that, I felt like it kind of made sense that they revealed right away that she was a vampire.
Yeah.
I don't really consider that much of a spoiler.
No,
I mean, if it
because
gets revealed in the first act, and is it much of a spoiler? Like,
no, it's not.
No,
because people were complaining that the Fall Guy trailer gave away too much.
It gave away.
What is there to
nothing.
give away, though? I mean, shit. It's an action film. I mean, shit. There's gonna be. It's an action shit. For fuck's sake.
Because there
What else?
are people that can constantly complain about that when it isn't the case. Where it's like they'll reveal 5 seconds. The trailer will be 5 seconds long, and it'll just be a static image of "go see this movie," and people will complain that it revealed too much of the movie. So you're gonna always have assholes that are like, "You fucking, it showed us too much." Once in a while, yes, it is a problem, but sometimes it's just assholes that just want to be like, "Yeah, well, it revealed the movie." Because, you know, these are the same fucking assholes that claim CinemaSins is satire. So, you know, there's that.
people still watch CinemaSins.
Yeah, for some reason they do. And they're the most obnoxious fandom of YouTube, I would dare say.
I can probably think of more obnoxious fans than the CinemaSins fans.
Well, ignoring the ones that probably obsess over pedophiles, because there's a lot of pedophiles on YouTube. But, you
Yeah.
know, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, The Fall Guy. Go see it. Support your local cinema.
Go check it out.
Support movie theaters, please.
And you can support your theaters if you get Regal Unlimited.
Or no. AMC Stubs A-list. Mine slow. Here.
Look at it.
Get it. Look at it. I want you all to look at it.
You guys are massive nerds.
And he's saying that.
Exactly.
So,
Hey,
Go
yeah,
see the movie.
Church
we kind of we apologize.
Podcast.
But, you know, go see it. It's not perfect, but it's a fun time.
It's a fun ride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
go
Fun.
check it out.
Go watch the show. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
this
streaming.
I was gonna say, what streaming service would the show be even on?
I have
Tubi?
no idea. Maybe
Uh,
Tubi or Pluto.
Fall Guy on streaming. Looks like it.
It's on Amazon Prime for $2.
The whole series?
I don't know.
I think it's. I'm willing to bet it means like just per episode.
Individual episode.
Per episode.
Yeah, it's it's per episode, and then for a whole season, it's $5 for standard definition.
Wow.
So take advantage of that sale, guys, because it's usually $10.
All right. So I guess
Do we have anything else to add for the Fall Guy?
I think we said all we needed.
All right.
So
So what's our next review? Is it Ferocia?
Kingdom of the Apes.
It's
Kingdom
gonna
of
be a wonderful day.
I was gonna say, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will be a
wonderful
review.
day.
That I couldn't remember the actual quote.
What a wonderful day.
Mark is
So
a
what we
I know-
got
I know I
next
will-
week for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I'll definitely be seeing that with Renee because I know that's one of the main movies she wants to see. So
hell.
theaters.
I mean, I still have my poster back there. You probably can't see it. Where I went to go see all 3 of the new ones in succession in a day at a theater with my dad. That was fun.
But all right, I think that's pretty much it. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next week for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Bye.
Deuces.
Once again, we have brought light into the world. You're welcome, America.